I saw the fucking I saw el vapor de esta mierda and it scared me. Ay, yo soy una pendeja. Okay. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Daikiry, and as you can see by the title of today's video, I'm gonna be telling you guys one of my little creepy stories. And if you know me, you know I'm a big pendeja. That means I'm a big scaredy cat. I enjoy scary movies. I enjoy all the paranormal stories. But it's one thing to hear them and to see them from the safety of my home, and another thing is for it to happen to me or weird shit happen around me. So thank God I rarely get these things, and I'm very apprehensive. I'm a little nervous. I'm very apprehensive of talking about this in my house, because I have a feeling like once you talk about it, you know, you could attract stuff. But I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. God is always with me, and let's get with the story. I'm nervous. All right, let's get with the story. So this happened to me when I was about 16, 17 years old. It's not one of my creepiest stories. It's not one of my creepiest experiences. Unfortunately, I have one that I don't even know if I'll ever share it, because I feel like if I do, it might come back, and I do not want it to come back ever. All right, so this happened when I was about 16, 17 years old. Like I said before, it's not super creepy, but it's a fun, paranormal, weird story that I have, right? So for this time, I was living in Colombia. I was living in Cartagena, and I had a party this weekend. So if you haven't seen the videos of me talking about Colombia and my childhood in Colombia, so basically I lived in Colombia, but my stepmother, ex-stepmother at that time, lived in another neighborhood, and I used to chill there consistently. I had a lot of friends there in my childhood. Friends that are now into adulthood all came from there and from school, but like we're talking about this specific neighborhood. So I had a party, and the party was literally across the street, diagonal from where my sister's family house was. It was diagonal across the street. My friend, I'm gonna call her Ellie. My friend Ellie was this person's cousin. So her cousin was having a party. He was throwing a party, and she lived literally right next door to him. So at that point in time, my ex-stepmother went to a party, and she told me to wait for her to get back from her party so I could be let into the house. I didn't have any keys. At that point in time, when I was a teenager, I was partying like crazy, and I used to get home really late. So usually she will have to wait for me to get back to the house so that way she can let me in. So basically she thought that was gonna be the same thing this time around. Well, the party was whack, first of all. Second of all, third of all, it was whack. Okay, so it finished super early, and me and Ellie just started to chill in her terrace, in her front porch, in her terrace, and we were gonna wait for my stepmom, my ex-stepmom. And we're there, we're talking. By the time everybody left, I feel it could have been like around 11 on the dot. 11 p.m. on the dot. The party was over. Everybody had left home. Ellie's cousin, though everything was shut down. Everybody was sleeping. Even in her house, everybody was sleeping. And we were just talking, waiting for my I'm just gonna call her my stepmom. Waiting for my stepmom to come back so that I could be let into the house. So we're talking and talking, you know, we're doing the recap of the little achievements that happened in the party while we're just sitting out and enjoying the night. All of a sudden, while we're talking, excuse me, all of a sudden, while we were talking, I heard a baby cry. And mind you, es la calle entera, like the whole street, the whole neighborhood, we're just in la terraza, sitting. And when I look to check out the house next door, I noticed that their lights are on, their windows are open. And I heard the baby cry come from that house. So I asked Ellie and I'm like, Ellie, is there a baby there? Because I had remembered that there were kids there, but there were maybe the little girl was about 4 or 5 years old. But then, you know, you never know. Maybe her mom had another kid while I didn't know. Like, I don't know. So I asked Ellie and she was like, no, there's no babies there. But this is the part where I don't remember what she said. But she said something that freaked us out, both of us, because when we looked, there was nobody outside. We were the only ones in la terraza chilling. So she said something. I don't remember if it was something like, oh, like something had happened. Something. She said something. And it freaked us out. And we went inside to the living room. We sat inside of the living room. We just left the front door open so that way if my stepmom came, she saw that we were there, we were up, and that's it. So we go inside and she's like, I have to tell you something that happened a few days ago. And I was like, okay, like what happened? So me paran los pelitos. So she's like, okay, so like I've been studying until mad late, and one day my grandmother came up to me and she was like, it was like around 2-3 in the morning, she said, and her grandmother got up to use the bathroom, or I don't know. Her grandmother got up and she saw her that she was like at the kitchen table, the dining room table. She was doing homework because Ellie was a girl that was on top of her studies. She's actually a lawyer now, so she, you know, she was on top of her studies always. So this wasn't new for her to stay up until late doing her homework or studying or stuff like that. So that one day her grandmother goes to her and she's like, you need to stop doing that because this is la hora de los muertos, basically. So in English is the time of the dead, or the time where the dead is alive or active. I don't know. La hora de los muertos. So Ellie was like, okay, you know how you sometimes don't pay attention to your grandma. So she continued doing her thing, and a few nights later she was in that dining room table. So a few nights later she was in the dining room table again. It was about 1 to 2 in the morning. She was studying, she was doing her homework, whatever the case is. And as she's doing her homework, there's ba ba ba, or knock knock knock. There's a knock 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 on the door. She said that she's not the white person that's gonna get killed in the movie. She picked up all her stuff, went into her room, and went to sleep. Well, the knocking continued so much so that her uncle, who lived at her house at that time, got up, and her uncle was very loud. So if somebody was knocking at the door at 2 in the morning, everybody in the neighborhood was gonna know and find out, like, what the fuck is going on, type of shit, you know. So he got up and he was like, okay, like, what, who's knocking on the door? And with that, he woke everybody else in the house, right? So as everybody else is getting out of their rooms to see what the heck is going on, why is he yelling like that, he is already out. Supposedly he was already out in the street looking for who was knocking on the door. He couldn't find anybody. So when he came back into the house, his mom, Ellie's grandmother, was like, "What happened?" Da, da, da. He was like, "I don't know. They were knocking on the door, and I went to answer, and there's nobody there. There's nobody in the streets, or whatever." Y se me está poniendo la piel. So there was nobody in the streets, nothing. Ellie's Ellie's grandmother looked at Ellie and she was like, "You were up, right?" And Ellie was like, she was like, I told you. So Ellie after that said that she would not stay up after dark, blah, 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 to do her homework. And we're just having the conversation. I'm like, no way, because in that point in time, Colombia has so many stories of brujas, of witches, of La Llorona, of seeing the devil, seeing the headless horseman. Like, you have so many stories in Colombia. And when I got to Colombia, I had heard the story of people receiving money and then dying because somebody would knock on their door at like 2-3 in the morning, and when they open the door, it will be a lady or old lady giving them money, and if you received money, people would die. The person that received the money would die, and if you just ignored it, then you were okay. Like, this, I don't know if it was a legend going around or if it was just a hoax and stuff like that, but it had gone around that they would knock on your door. So when she told me the story, I was like, oh, hell to the no. Like, that, you can't be telling me this is true. She's like, yeah, it's true. It happened to me. You can even ask my uncle, blah, blah, blah. So we're just talking. Now, the way the house is set up is kind of like where we were at in the living room. Towards the left side continued the rest of the house, and like the left side were all the rooms, and then on the right side was the kitchen, all the way to the far end of the house. So I'm talking and I'm sitting just like this, and from the corner of my eye, I see this is what I see. I see her brother. Her brother was about, at that point in time, if we were like 15, 16, her brother was like 12. Her brother had the clothes that he had on for the party, because I remember seeing him from the corner of my eye as I'm talking to Ellie, that he crouched down from the opening of the door of their bedroom, because they shared a bedroom. He went straight into the kitchen, and then se movieron los platos when that happened. Like, the where the plates are put to dry, that rack, the drying rack, moved, and the plates, like, you could hear the plates like clattering a little bit. And I start laughing because I was like, he got us, he scared the crap out of us, because we were like, we freaked out, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's your brother. I was gonna say his name. I'm like, it's your brother. He scared us. He heard us talking about this shit, and he scared us. So she's like, no, I didn't see anybody. Mind you, she's sitting right across from me. So if I could see it from my peripheral, from the corner of my eye, she should be able to see it from the corner of her eye as well. I mean, she should have seen what I saw. So I'm like looking at her. So we both get up, right, to go check the kitchen, to, be like, to her brother. And when we get to the kitchen, nobody. She was like, I don't think that was him. And I'm like, girl, I saw him crouch and run into the freaking kitchen with you in his clothes. Like, it was it was like a greenish shirt, like a light green shirt, and like jeans. And I saw him like that, like agachado. Nah, that shit's ooh. Anyways, he was not in the kitchen. She opens the door of the bedroom, and he's like in pantaloncillos, knocked out, sleeping. That's when I was like, you know what? I don't have to wait for my stepmom at all. I don't feel like waiting for my stepmom at all. I want to sleep over. And she was like, yup. She closed the door. She turned off the lights. She gave me some PJs, and I knocked out. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I was bugging because I was already creeped out and scared from hearing a baby. It could have been a TV. But then she said something that freaked us out, that made us come into the living room, and then she tells me that story, and I was just all scared. And then I see what I thought was her brother, and it wasn't. My mother-in-law is taking care of the baby, so I hear her walking, so I think she's gonna come over, but no. Okay, so it's like weird. It's not the scariest story that I have, unfortunately. I've had other things happen to me. I also have a lot of stories that my friends have told me and that family members have told me and that I've just heard. Oh, I had a friend who we would visit her grandma. Her grandma had the best stories, the creepiest stories, but the best stories. And I don't know, I don't seek these things out. Honestly, I'm very scared of them, even though I love listening to the stories and I love watching the shows and I love watching the movies, but I don't want it to happen to me. So, because I'll fuck a ghost up. No, I'm kidding. I'll I'll cry. But you know, when things happen, they happen. And that's one of the little things that happened to me. It was kind of creepy, kind of crazy. I don't know what I saw then, crawling or running towards the kitchen area, but that's what I thought I had saw. I had thought I had seen her brother and that he made the noise, you know, made the plates like move. And yeah, it was nothing. Sorry if you hear like the trucks and the cars. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was nothing. There was nothing there. Um, I don't know what I saw from the corner of my eye. She never experienced the knocking. I don't believe she experienced it again because she stopped staying up so late. Yeah. So that's my little short scary story for October, Spooktober. I wanted to do like a spooky makeup, but yeah, I'm spooky already, so it don't matter. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this little story. If you want to hear more of my creepy stories or my family stories or my friends' stories, just let me know in the comments. And I invite you to subscribe so you could be, you know, in the journey or along the journey with me. Yeah, so this is a quick little video, quick little story time. I hope you guys like it, and if you do, give me a like. I'll see you, or better yet, you'll see me on the next one. Bye.